Hello again, everybody, and welcome to the Vegas Voice Seniors Vote. I'm Dan Roberts, the publisher of the Vegas Voice, and our goal is to introduce you to all the people who have decided to run for elected office, for you to decide whether that's the person you want to endorse. We have a very special guest today, and that is Miss Rebecca Wolfson, who is running for Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge, Department 5. Rebecca, thank you so much for running.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being here. Of course, there's a million questions. I'm sure most seniors have no idea what a judge does and doesn't do, what their jurisdiction is and everything else. Let's first talk about yourself, your background, and go from there, and experience.
Sure. So I am born and raised here in Las Vegas.
Right.
I've lived here almost my entire life. The only time I haven't lived in Las Vegas is when I went to college in San Francisco. I always knew that I wanted to be a lawyer. Both of my parents are attorneys, and they've been public figures here in town. And they really did set me up for this to be my career path. So when I was a little kid, probably around 10 or 11 years old, I was going around telling everyone that I wanted to be a lawyer. So that's exactly what I did. I went off to college knowing that I was going to go to law school. And I came back home. I went to law school at UNLV. I graduated and passed the bar, and I was a lawyer at the age of 24. So I rushed. I got through it, and I did it quickly. And I've been a practicing lawyer ever since. I'm a deputy city attorney. I work for the city of Las Vegas. And I figured this is a good time for me to take that next step and enter into the next phase of my career.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the position you're running for, Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge, Department 5. What's the jurisdiction of that court?
So it is a city-wide race, and it is a city judicial spot. And what that means is if there's any misdemeanor committed within the city of Las Vegas, those cases go to the Las Vegas Municipal Court. And there are 6 judges there that handle a variety of different types of cases, but they're all misdemeanors within the city of Las Vegas.
And you mentioned it before, and I don't know whether we can call it the elephant in the room or something along those lines, in which your dad's a pretty stand-up guy in this town. Talk a little bit about your dad and how is it a conflict or not a conflict? Or what do you think that will distinguish you from, let's say, your dad?
So my father is the district attorney here in Clark County, and he runs an office filled with over 170 attorneys. And that is an office that I am not allowed to practice in because he is the boss. So I started my career in the city attorney's office, which is a separate jurisdiction from the county. And in fact, my father's office will have no bearing on my role if elected as the municipal court judge, because his attorneys don't practice in municipal court. They practice in justice and district court in those other courtrooms. So there is no conflict in terms of what my father does and what I am trying to do. We are different jurisdictions, they're different jobs, and there should be no conflict or overlap if I'm elected.
So with that in mind, with the experience you have as an attorney, the question that I have for many people is, why go through the hassle of being a judge where I think it's more lucrative professionally and financially if you become, if you stay as an attorney and grow your practice?
Well, I think in some areas, yes, it could be more lucrative, but I've dedicated my career to public service. I've worked for the government ever since I've left law school, and they don't make what those private lawyers make. So in terms of staying as an attorney, it wouldn't necessarily be a more lucrative role for me to stay as an attorney. But that's not why I'm running for judge. I've always known that I wanted to be a judge. I grew up with my mom being a judge during my most formative years. I was able to watch her in court for 8 years of my life and see the changes that she was able to make in her role. And she did a lot of good for this community when she was a judge. And so that always put it in my mind that this is something that I'd like to do. And I think that I'll be really good at it.
Well, obviously, you've been brought up knowing exactly what goes on there. What do you think should be the best qualities for being a judge?
I think a judge should not only have control of their courtroom, but they should maintain a certain temperament. I think a lot of people, when they walk into a courtroom, it's either their first time or it's a very intimidating experience.
Extremely.
And that goes for defendants, that goes for witnesses, that goes for victims, that goes for people who are just going in to observe. So a courtroom can be a rather intimidating place.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a judge that's on the bench, that stays on the bench and is there to answer pretty much any question that they're asked, it can open up the community a little bit more to what a judge actually does. And that's the kind of judge I want to be. I want to be one, when people walk in the courtroom, that they feel comfortable, that they feel listened to, that they feel heard. And I think that I'll be able to accomplish that.
Yeah. One of the things, and again, I kidded with you beforehand, is that defendants come in or other attorneys who are, let's say, my age, and they look at you and say, now, maybe you don't understand. Let me tell you my life experience. How can you deal with it? Because as I kidded you, when you walked in, I thought you were in high school. And, that's a great thing. Don't get me wrong. But you need the temperament and the experience of being a judge and handling old people like myself who say, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. How do you handle something like that?
Well, it's really interesting because I started my attorney career as a prosecutor. So I was in court and I had defense attorneys who I've known my entire life, who have known me since I was a young child, that would come into court and say, wow, I can't believe I'm up against you now.
Yeah.
And it's been something I've been dealing with since I started my career in the legal world. But I have overcome any of those hurdles, if you will. It has never been a problem. And I feel like I have the right experience to take this next step. I mean, I spent my first 4 years in the city attorney's office as a prosecutor. I've handled thousands of cases in the municipal court, thousands of cases in the courtroom that I am running in. And then from there, I've now been on the civil side for the last 3 years, handling complex litigation, land use, code enforcement legislation. So I've handled a variety of different areas of city legal work. And it has truly prepared me to take this next step. I mean, I've practiced in every court in Nevada except family court. And what that means is years in municipal court, I practiced in justice, district, federal, Supreme Court, the Ninth Circuit. So I've hit them all. And it has prepared me to take this next step.
Well, with that in mind, how about this? You were raised from your dad, your mom, the judge. The most important quality you feel that you can bring as a judge to the city of Las Vegas is what?
A fresh perspective, if you will. I think that my youth, which is something that I consider a benefit, not necessarily a bad thing, I think it can really make an impact on the court system. I find that the court system is a little bit antiquated, and I feel like COVID, although COVID was not really that great for a lot of reasons, but one thing that it really did was it forced the legal world to modernize. It forced our community to explore different avenues to handle cases, because there was a while where we weren't going into the courtroom. So while the legal community is still trying to catch up with modern technology, it's something I think that I can bring into the court system, make it an easier and more accessible place for people to come. And I think my demeanor and my temperament is perfect for the role.
I happen to agree with you on all that. So in the minute or so that we have left, if people want more information about you, they want to either donate to your campaign or volunteer or just to help out in any way, shape, or form, how do they get a hold of you?
Well, you can go to my website, www.wolfson4judge.com, and that's the number 4. It's not spelt F-O-R. It's just Wolfson, W-O-L-F-S-O-N, 4judge.com. My campaign number is 702-344-0101. And you can contact me through my website. It has my email on there. There's a way to donate online. It will also connect you to my social media, which I'm very active on. So there are many different ways someone can get a hold of me if they want to. And I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm happy to take phone calls. So please reach out.
So with the last question now, here it comes. Our readers, people who watch this in the Vegas Voice readers, they should vote for you for Las Vegas Municipal Court Judge, Department 5, because
I am the best candidate for the role, and I will do an excellent job if I'm elected as the judge.
Can't say it better than that. Rebecca, I thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you. And what I will tell everyone is make sure you make it to the end of the ballot. I think my race will be the last race on the ballot.
Jeez,
and
yeah.
my name will be the last name on that race. So vote Wolfson for judge, vote in the primary. And thank you for having me. And I appreciate your support.
I thank you. And this is Dan Roberts for Senior Votes. And we'll see you again next time.
Thank you.
Rebecca.